Welcome to the AM-bition podcast. Today, I actually have a really special guest, the first guest of our this series, Abe Parker. He's a musician that I have met personally and I've performed with, and he's a really cool dude. And introduce yourself.
Hey guys, it's awesome to be on the podcast.
So, what I brought you on here for is to just talk about what you do and where you started, and if just to start off, tell the audience your story.
Yeah. Well, I'm originally from Zanesville, Ohio, which is in the middle of nowhere. And a few years ago, I just kind of said a prayer, packed up my car, and decided to move to Atlanta, Georgia to do music, and just kind of started knocking on doors here in Atlanta, and slowly kind of built a career up for myself. And it's been a crazy journey, but starting from ground zero, and some of the cool stuff has been happening recently, just doing stuff with, there's a Christian rapper named LAKEY that I had some features with, and we did a Christmas record together, and just been working with doing a lot of writing stuff for all kinds of different people, and releasing singles, and yeah.
And I saw a recent video that you uploaded, NACA. Could you explain what that is and what that's for?
Yeah, well, that NACA is I do a lot of colleges. I play a lot of colleges everywhere from Maine to California, and that video in particular is just a submission video, so I'll send that in to these different conferences, and I'll play for a few minutes, and then they kind of, all the different colleges come, and that's where I get a lot of my bookings for most of the year.
And what kind of colleges have you played at?
Man, all kinds. Big state universities to small private schools. Probably, obviously it's in the fall and winter and spring months, not in the summer, but colleges here in Georgia to, like I said, everywhere from Maine to California.
That's awesome. So in regards to music, when did you first start like writing and get really into writing? Because I've been trying to write some music myself, not anything big or but try to get my voice out with that kind of style of writing, and I've been having trouble just setting words to a song. And maybe you could walk through what your process is or when you started.
Man, I love songwriting. It's one of my favorite things to do, and it's so awesome because it's like if you're able to get to a point where you are able to get some income from it, it's almost like you're getting paid to do self-therapy. Songwriting for me is just expressing an emotion and trying to connect that same emotion with somebody else. And when you you start to write your own music and release it, and at that point it's hard to believe that it's a job, but it's like you get paid to do your own self-therapy. For me, my process, I usually start with a good harmony, so something on the guitar or something on a keyboard, or some kind of synth patch or loop or something like that. And I usually start with the harmony, then I'll do melody next. And at that stage, for some people, it's kind of weird when they're around me, just because I just sing gibberish, and a lot of songwriters will do that, where it's not really about the lyrics at that point. It's just about finding a cool melody, and then at that point, once I kind of have a cool verse idea and a cool chorus idea and maybe a pre-chorus idea, I usually start writing at that point, and then the bridge kind of either comes out of nowhere, or I'll kind of do that same process again for the bridge. So that's my process. People have all kinds of different processes, but that's what works best for me.
And so you kind of from step by step, you build the song, and that part just where you just start like singing like gibberish. That's really interesting. I never thought about like that being a way to build something.
Oh yeah, I think it's awesome. It's awesome doing that because it's like it really helps you to focus in on one thing. A lot of times I'd have a lot of problems before I did that. I'd have a lot of problems coming up with cool melodies and lyrics because I was trying to write lyrics and melodies at the same time. So I mean, it's kind of like, you know, trying to juggle and skateboard at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, I felt that it was helpful to kind of section it out like that.
And so you play guitar. Do you play any other instruments?
I do. I wouldn't call myself an expert on any of them. It's what you might call, I've got producer chops on these other instruments, for example, bass or drums or keyboard. And by producer chops, I just mean like I can play it well enough to make it sound good on a record. A lot of producing is not really about being a virtuoso on an instrument, but it's about finding something that makes you feel good. And so if you are fluent enough, you know, to convey a feeling with instrument, then I would call that producer chops.
Awesome. Because that's really interesting to hear, because you know I hear a lot of different musical artists that aren't necessarily like they have a band, but they might have bands with them when they tour. And I'm guessing maybe that's how, like, if they're not part of a permanent group, that's how they make those songs with the varying instruments.
Yep, there's a lot of different bands out there that, you know, when they're actually making the record, it might be just like two guys or just one guy and a producer. And then when they hit the road, it just a lot of times it doesn't feel as impactful when you play live if you don't have a drummer. You know, if you don't have somebody beating on something with a wooden stick, you know, it just seems to help.
It's a good way to phrase it.
Yeah.
If you okay, looking back, when you kind of just started playing guitar, what are some of your like musical inspirations?
Man, I'm kind of all over the place on inspiration. I mean, when I was a few years ago, I was more into I guess I was raised on a lot of Christian music, like bands like Relient K, bands like Switchfoot, and just a lot of different music in that kind of pop punk genre. And then I started to branch out more and got into more jazz and got into more like neo soul and artists like D'Angelo or John Mayer or kind of branch out there. And then from at that point I really started to study pop, just to see what pop is so much of a formula, and so I was just really curious if I could figure out the formula. So I guess that's kind of been my musical journey. Started on the pop punk and slowly merged into more pop music, and now I feel like I've got a good handle on what pop means, and I'm really trying to make it unique. So take the rules of pop and break them just a little bit to make it unique.
That's awesome. Yeah. So in your eyes, like as far as pop goes, like, do you feel that it's like let's say like mainstream, like just normal radio, run of the mill like pop songs? Do you think that they're becoming too mass produced, or do you think that there's just as much like feeling in them as there's always been? Do you think?
You know, it's funny. I was meeting with a friend of mine a while ago, and he's a manager for an artist that I believe just got signed to Columbia, and they're doing a lot of different stuff. And we were just having this conversation about how it almost seems like everyone that does pop music doesn't even like it. They are just doing it to in fact, the conversation was, is it even possible to do pop music and still like what you do? So with that said, I think it's very mass produced, and it's very, it's a formula, and I understand why, people are sick of it. But on the flip side, like, there's something to it. There's a reason why these artists are famous. They're doing something right. I think a lot of times as a musician, if there's folks out there that are talented on a certain instrument, it's really easy to be like, oh man, listen to this song. There's nothing to it, and kind of anybody that would like this song kind of write them off as, well, they just don't have good taste. But if you think about it, anybody past the age of 15 or 16, has probably put in a good 10 years of listening to, well, I don't know, maybe above the age of 18, has put in a good 10 years of listening to music non-stop. And I would say that qualifies them as a professional music listener. So if they like this pop kind of music, then, who am I to say, oh, you don't have good taste?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. Like, everyone has their own preferences, and so what might mean something to one person might mean nothing to the other, but it's about when it means something to somebody,
Yep.
So do you have any, like, are you kind of going with the motion, or do you have any, like, large, like, plans ahead, or, like, things you want to do?
Yeah, we've got lots of stuff going. Like I said before, we just came out with a single called Cool Kid. It's been doing pretty well. It got picked up on Spotify's Fresh Finds playlist, which was pretty awesome. And we haven't even done a marketing campaign for it yet. So I just started off with some blogs and stuff like that. But just a few days ago, we shot a music video for it. I'm super excited about it.
I am too.
The music video involved me going to Goodwill, buying a whole living room full of furniture, and spray and painting the entire thing red. So it's gonna be awesome. It looked really cool. We shot it in front of an all-white psych wall, and so it's like this, kind of like crusty red furniture. Well, not crusty, that's probably the wrong word, but all red furniture up against this completely white backdrop, and we've got some smoke and stuff like that. It's gonna be awesome.
So that sounds really cool, because it's props from, like, Goodwill.
Yeah.
That anybody has access to, and you've done something with it.
Yeah, I mean, I actually had to fight with some people at Goodwill to get some of the stuff I wanted, but man, those people are sharks. You gotta go fast. If you see something you like, you just gotta grab it. Can't wait.
Man. So, you say you made music video. When is the music video for Cool Kid gonna drop on YouTube, do you think?
It's probably gonna be sometime late next week. We still have to edit it together. My video guy's still he's busy with some other projects, so we're gonna try to launch it probably next weekend sometime. I'll be posting about it though.
Awesome. Well, people listening, you guys definitely need to check that out. Listen to the song. Look forward to the video. Very good. Man. So when you how many music videos have you filmed?
I really haven't done enough music videos. I shot one to a song of mine years ago. There's a song of mine called Little Sister
That's what I was thinking about. Yeah. Continue. Sorry.
That's okay. We shot that one years ago, but I haven't really done anything until maybe 3 weeks ago. I did a collaboration with a friend of mine, a song called Parking Lot. and we shot a music video for that one, which was a ton of fun and a little unsafe, but it was awesome. We got my minivan, and one of the scenes we're like sitting on the top of the minivan singing to the song as it's rolling, but there's nobody driving it. So we planned everything out. It was in an empty parking lot, and then we timed it to where we knew the van would stop at a certain point, but it was still pretty intimidating.
Yeah, I would think so. Man, did you have to like talk to the people who own the parking area?
Well, it was a big public parking area. It was down by the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So it was just a public area. We just showed up and shot it real fast before anybody could ask questions.
This is important. Don't ask questions. This is fine.
Yeah.
Man. So what's the last place that you performed live at?
I think the last one was we did a double show, a back-to-back show at a place called Eddie's Attic in Decatur, Georgia, just inside Atlanta, but just kind of the east side. It was great. We did 2 shows back to back, and I was so nervous, man. Like, I put in tons of work and really marketed it, and a week before, we were really trying to sell out each show, because it would be kind of silly if one show is pretty empty, and we booked 2 shows back to back. And I got there that day, and I had checked with some of the people as far as how many tickets had been sold, and there wasn't a lot. So I was feeling pretty bummed, but sure enough, I guess the word got out, and a lot of people came, and we ended up selling out both shows, which was a total shock to me. And I didn't figure that out until about 5 minutes till I went on. So it was awesome. It was a great show, and we're kind of looking forward to the next show, which hopefully, Lord willing, will be at like a Terminal West or something like that.
That's awesome. So you got the crowd seemed to enjoy it?
They did, yeah.
That's awesome. So is there anything that you've done consistently, like as like crowd participation, like something that they can do, or do you think about doing something like that?
I mean, I'm a huge fan of crowd participation. I love one of my favorite bands is 21 Pilots, and I feel like that's kind of their secret sauce is just having really cool ways to involve the crowd. I feel like my music isn't quite as creepy as 21 Pilots stuff, but I love doing that. I mean, I don't know if I have anything that's regular. I try to switch things up, but it just depends on the audience too, and the venue. But a lot of times I try to, if you can get people singing along, that's always awesome. If you can get people to, I'm trying to think of, there's one, I don't know if I did it when I went to Johns Creek, but I'll get the audience to beatbox, or I'll, sometimes if I'll get somebody to come up on stage from the audience and have them beatbox to a song while I'm playing it or something like that.
Yeah, I think when I performed with you, my friend Hayden, he was the lead acoustic guitarist, singer. He got up there with the drummer Cole, and you had them like dancing with the music.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was fun.
with their shades on.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was really fun. We actually drove to like Dollar General.
Oh my gosh.
The day of the concert. Like, we need to find the best shades.
That's awesome.
And then my cousin, my cousin, he was born he's 3 years old right now, and he was actually at that concert.
Oh wow.
And he was in the front row trying to copy my siblings who were dancing. Like he was trying to dance. He was trying to dance, but he couldn't keep his balance.
Yeah, that was fun. I think I still have that T-shirt from that show.
Oh yeah, like the JCUMC tour.
Yep.
Yeah. That was really fun. So what's your advice to someone trying to start in like whatever genre, trying to start a music career or something for themselves?
I mean, I don't know if you've heard of the 10,000 hour rule. You'll hear about it. A lot of people talk about it, but basically the concept is that in order to become a professional at anything, you have to put in 10,000 hours. A lot of people think that you have to be born with these innate talents and innate gifts, and granted, there are some things that might be genetic. For example, like there's no chance that I'm ever gonna, no matter how many hours I put in, I'm not gonna be an NBA star. I'm not tall enough and athletic enough for that. But as a general rule of thumb, anybody can become a professional at anything as long as you put in, the 10,000 hours. So whatever that is, maybe you want to be an awesome writer. Maybe you want to be an awesome producer. Maybe you want to be an awesome singer and performer. If you're willing to put in that time to make it happen, then it's going to work. And along the way in those 10,000 hours, don't get frustrated, because you're not seeing the progress you want. Just because it takes time to get really good at something and really figure something out. And then the second thing I'd say is just, make sure that you're, especially if you want to be a singer or a songwriter or something like that, just make sure that you're playing out. Just get out and play in front of people, because you really don't know if a song is awesome until you get some other people's opinions. And the best way to do that is just to do open mics. Like, just go. In Atlanta, there's probably 3 open mics a night that you could go to, and just go play a song or two and get people's feedback. So that's probably my advice.
Good advice. Man, I've never heard of that mentality before. It's very interesting, and I do think that's a good way. It's a good way to think. Yeah. I mean, it's so hard, man. Nowadays there's way more people trying to make music, and there is way less money to be made in music. Well, that's not true. There is definitely money to be made, but it's just in different avenues, and it's harder to get to, making a lot of money, at least the way that things used to happen. So yeah. I really do feel for people that are, musicians, and because it's hard. It's hard to there's so many things that you have to do all simultaneously for something to make it. You can't just have an awesome song. You got to have an awesome song, and you have to have an email list you're sending to, and you have to have a good social media presence, and you have to have another famous band you can open up for, and you have to have, it's just kind of like, unless all those things are firing at the same time, you kind of just don't make it above the white noise of everybody else trying to do it. Yeah. In the NAKA video, you said you performed like on this subject. You performed opened for some band. What are some of the bands that you've opened for?
There's a guy named Andy Grammer that I've done stuff for, and he's one of my heroes. He's he started playing on the streets as well and built his way up. I've opened for there's a band called Judah and the Lion. I've opened up for a guy named Ben Rector, David Crowder, Switchfoot, a lot of different acts.
That's awesome. And like earlier you said Switchfoot was one of your inspirations.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. That was a cool day.
So let's see. On my gigantic list of questions, when you're performing live, and you have nerves, what's something that kind of gets you past those nerves?
Oh man, I don't know. I still have to master that. I think the biggest thing is just not having nerves in the first place, and you get that by just doing it over and over and over and over. Like, I feel like, if I'm really, really kind of nervous about something, it'll kind of mess me up. But the more times, for example, if I'm nervous playing at a music festival, it might, like, obviously, there's things you can do to help maintain that and to keep yourself in line. But the best thing to do is just to line up a bunch of music festivals and just go play all of them. And after like music festival number like 3, you're gonna just get to a point where like you just realize to yourself that you're like, this really isn't that bad. Like, I'm not really, what's there to be afraid of? Like, even if I mess up. And I guess, and then the last thing is probably just messing up. That's probably one of the best ways to get over nerves, because after you screw something up, it's like, well, it can't get worse than this. So I remember a time I was playing at the Hard Rock Cafe in Louisville, Kentucky. And, I went to a pretty conservative, strict school, and so you like weren't allowed to go to bars and stuff. And the Hard Rock Cafe, the one we were at, was just like a bar. I remember we were playing our set, and the president of the school, she had a very distinct hairdo. It was like this poofy, you just couldn't miss it.
Okay.
So we're playing this set, and I'm looking out in the audience, and all I can see is just a silhouette of people's heads. And I'm like, okay, like normal guy's head, like normal girl's head, normal guy's head, and then, oh my gosh, that's the president of my college. And so I'm like, oh man, she's gonna skewer me alive. I'm playing in a bar. And at that point I just like played the wrong note on the guitar, and but then I was like, well, I already messed it up, so I might as well just have fun. And she loved it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she loved it. So they said I played really well, even though I thought I was playing horribly. So you never know.
Yeah, that's really funny. Man, I don't know who would be that person for me if I was doing something that would make me really nervous. But that's really funny. Yeah, like once you're like, okay, I've messed up, but I can still have fun with this, and you kind of feel more laid back.
Yeah, I think that's the key.
I think the hardest part, with my the church I go to, I play in the praise band, and I usually, if the other guitarist isn't there, I have to start us like the songs, and that's like the hardest part to do, is because I have to like, okay, everyone's gonna hear me, just me, for a few seconds, and I have to just start, and that's like the hardest point. Once I get past it, I'm fine, but it's just that point.
Yeah, that's pretty daunting.
So, man, thank you so much for doing this.
Of course, yeah. I really appreciate you hitting me up, and if you don't mind me asking you, I'm really curious on like just what types of music, and I don't know. I have my preferences musically, but what kind of music? What's your musical influences? Like, what are your new favorite couple bands or couple songs, and why?
I can list a couple. My family. I feel very happy that my family raised me with like a lot of a lot of the old, I guess you consider them old now, like the old bands like the Beatles and Leonard Skinner, AC/DC, Bon Jovi. What else? Journey. A lot of different bands that I still enjoy and I still actively listen to. And then there's the new bands I listen to. Have you heard of the band Grandson? It's kind of alternative rock. My friend Ace, actually the co-host of the podcast, introduced me to that band. It's some people might see it as like edgy music, but if you really listen to the lyrics, it's very well written. Very nice stuff. Grandson, yeah. Yeah, I think you'd like it. This Grandson. A big one, huge band I listened to. I actually went out, bought a couple of their albums on CD. Gorillaz. Have you heard of that?
Sunshine in a Bag, Gorillaz?
Yeah.
I got sunshine in a bag. Okay.
Yeah. That's their big song.
Yeah.
That's like what Bohemian Rhapsody is for Queen.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. They made an album recently called The Now Now, and it's like, it's a cartoon band. They have, obviously live, they perform live, but like there's like a whole story and lore you follow with the band,
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, I'm into kind of a wide range, and I'm open for new things. Like there's some things that like are a little like too extreme. Like I won't listen to like death metal, but I'll listen to like System of a Down, which is like chop suey, really intense, but still good song. But yeah, I kind of lean towards more alternative. I don't really listen to much like what you'd say is like mainstream popular right now.
Yeah, I'm just really curious because I don't, maybe this is just me, but I feel like right now a lot of music and a lot of like pop culture is very like it's very female led, and like a lot of music seems like it caters a lot more towards ladies, which I think is really interesting because like I feel like when I was in high school there was still some of that, but it was still like the pop culture was like the punk rock, edgy rock, punk kind of stuff. And it's just really interesting to me when I talk to a lot of guys, especially like younger guys. It's like they're just not listening, they're not tuning into pop music, and if they do, it's only because it's like they're at prom or they're at some big social event or in some big social group. I just think that's really interesting. That's why I was curious what you listen to. Because I was kind of the same way, and I still am in some ways. Like I just I don't know, like pop music. Like when I was in high school, I was like I never wanted to get caught dead listening to pop music. I just wanted to, I had my own little punk rock thing, and that's all I needed. But anyways, I was just curious.
Yeah, well, I'm really glad you asked. When it comes to like pop music, mainstream, if it's a good song, I'll listen to it. Like I'm not gonna hit on, because there's some like few ones out there that are just consistently good songs and they're catchy. But like if it has like great meaning, or if it like if it's important to somebody, like that's good. Like if it has like emotion behind it. But if it's I won't seek it out. Like I won't seek it out.
Yeah.
But I'll listen to it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Cool. But yeah, man, I appreciate you hitting me up and let me know when it's live and I can share it.
Oh, awesome. Well, if I can, if my internet agrees with me, I'll try to upload it today if it works.
Cool. Yeah.
But
I said no rush.
Yeah. Okay. But thank you again, guys. This has been Abe Parker talking about great things he does. All his information, his YouTube channel will be in the description. You guys need to check him out. He has a new single out, a cool kid, really good. Definitely listen to that. And just check out all the others videos. He's been a lot of places, and as you can tell, he has a really good passion for what he does, and I'm really glad to have gotten to talk to you about all these great things.
Very cool. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And yep. Hopefully, I'll see you soon.
Do you wanna sign us off?
Yeah. This is Abe Parker signing everybody off. Thanks for listening. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.